Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Whitney with Crafty Thoughts and Whatnots, and today I'm excited to share with you 4 patriotic home decor DIYs. These guys have a rustic farmhouse kind of look to them, and I'm just really excited to show you. So let's get started with the first one. Now here I've got 3 cans, 3 just regular cans. I think these were canned corn, honestly. My husband loves corn. Anyways, these two, not gonna lie, I have had these done probably 3 or 4 years. They've been sitting in my craft stash, maybe a little bit less, but it's been a couple years. They're Mod Podge. These are napkins that I picked up at Hobby Lobby years ago, along with them. Now, what I'm telling you here is that in those cans that I've already done, I took the smaller napkin and I cut it into strips. I focused the stars towards the bottom of the cans, and then the obviously white and red stripes towards the top of the can. Now this third can, because what I decided to do with them is make basically an arrangement holder. So I'm gonna take this guy apart. I was going to separate it, but the reason why I'm not is because I didn't paint the can. And taking that extra piece off the back of the napkin is going to make it a little bit more see-through than I want it to be. So I'm going to leave the second layer of napkin on there because we're going to Mod Podge these on. I'm not sure if I mentioned that already. Those are the previous ones I just showed you. Everything's being Mod Podged. So I'm going to focus the main part where the stars are to the front of where I want the can to be. So I'm just using a matte Mod Podge, and I'm going to take a sponge and I'm going to cover a decent portion of the can in Mod Podge, also with a decent amount of Mod Podge as well, just to get that to stick down. Now, the reason why this one is so easily done is because you want it to be wrinkly. You don't want it to be smooth and perfect. We want this to be kind of messy, kind of wrinkled and all, just all messed up, basically, because we're going to use that to our advantage when we distress it later. So smooth it into all the ridges of the can. Eventually it will absorb into it anyways, but the ridges of the can, along with the wrinkles, the natural wrinkles you're going to get from the napkin, are all going to work to our advantage. But here's just more application. Obviously the one napkin was not big enough to fit the entire can, and these are just standard size cans. This is regular canned food from the grocery store, and they're just a normal size. There are bigger cans than this, but these are just regular everyday cans. Pick something out of your recycle bin and have fun. So I'm just making sure that the parts that are folded on the inside are Mod Podge down. I'm getting really good at that seam between the two, which it won't be apparent. As you can see here, you can see the seam, but once we get these 3 girls together, you're not going to see that seam. And then I'm going to close up the bottom. The extra piece that I had left over from the other sides, and I only used basically a quarter or half of one large napkin. I'm going to cut that into pieces, and I'm going to just cover the bottom with that. Now, the bottoms aren't cute. They're not pretty. You'll see later on when I put some chalk paint on there to distress them. They're not meant to be seen anyways, but should it actually show through anywhere, at least it's got it covered with all the same medium that you're using. So we're just going to put these other little pieces on, and we're going to make sure that everything is good and soaked, so that once it dries, it's basically hardens into it's almost like a resin type feel, except for since this is a matte Mod Podge, it's not shiny. And here's what they look like when they're done. This one is all dried up. Of course, the other 2 have been done for quite some time. We won't talk about that. I was going to try to sand it and then realized, you know what, don't. They're just going to go in with our paint. So I grabbed my Waverly chalk paint in cashew, because that cashew has a nice kind of almost a yellow tint to it, you could say, once you get it in there, and it's going to look very, very antique. I like the way this looks, and I knew that it's going to add the rustic vibe that I want to it. And of course, it's going to be farmhouse. I'm nothing if not predictable with the farmhouse, you guys know. If you're new here, you will find out very quickly. I seem to be obsessed with that. That will be my thing for how long, I don't know, but it will probably go way beyond it being in style. Guaranteed, because that's normally what I do. I don't do things that are in style. So there, I've just distressed them all, and that cashew paint showed up very nicely against the blues and the reds in there, and I loved it. So I'm going to take the 3 cans, and I'm going to arrange them in the direction that I want. So I wanted to make sure that the front there had the stars on the larger the larger amount of stars headed toward, headed or pointed towards the front. So here I'm getting a pencil and I'm just marking out where I need to put my glue so that that can will lay directly forward. But I was having a little bit of a problem with contact in the glue. So what I needed to do after this was I put a decent amount of glue on all those seams, but you could see that glue and it was kind of icky. So I have these wood dowels I got at Dollar Tree many years ago, or sorry, I haven't done anything with Dollar Tree for years, months ago, but you can just use a regular wooden dowel if you have them. And I'm going to cut them to the height of the can, and we're going to nestle these right into those corners. So these are actually pet toenail clippers I got at Dollar Tree. They're perfect for cutting dowels. So, pro tip, if you guys ever need anything that's really easy, grab some of those pet clippers at the Dollar Tree. And then if and when they break, you won't be so upset because it's only $1.25. So in order to keep with it nice and antique and rusty, happy accident happens in about a moment here. I'm going to apply the antique wax to the dowels so that they're not just raw wood dowels. They've got some age to them. They've got some cute, distressing looking dowel color. That sentence was completely made up just now, guys. I'm telling you, it's just me making stuff up. Just me watching this and trying to record what I'm doing, or trying to just explain what I'm doing. But anyway, antique wax is on, and then I had extra left over right there on my baby wipe, and I was like, I like the way that looks against the distressed cashew paint. So we're gonna put these dowels on. So there's 1, here's 2, boop, and there's 3. And then I'm going to take some of that wax I had on that baby wipe, and I'm going to get the antique wax back out. See, those fillers look great, by the way. You can't see the glue now. So I'm getting the antique wax back out, and I'm going to take this baby wipe, and I'm going to apply it. Now look at that. Look how it almost seems a little primitive. It almost seems a little more than just farmhouse. This is going in our rustic area. I love the aged messiness of it. It's beautiful to me. It turned out so much more than I thought it would. And in some places, I really left it on real heavy to make it look real dirty, really, really aged and weathered. Oh, I love that. It just, that part made me happy right there. So here's where we're going to bring in the messiest styrofoam you could possibly ever find. This is what happens when you save everything, thinking that you're going to be frugal, and you just create the biggest mess and headache to where you wish you hadn't done it. Anybody have any of this styrofoam? This was in packaging for, I believe, probably some sort of electronics or something, and I saved it, so that's gonna be great for crafting or for floral arrangements. And once I get this cleaned up, it's great. These pieces fit perfectly. They fill a large space. And I didn't actually have to use any of the floral foam that's more expensive. So in any event, clean all that up. By the way, that took like 5-10 minutes to clean all that up. But anyways, the static was amazing. So glue all those girls in. That way they're not coming back up. And now we're going to cover the tops with Spanish moss. It's a little bit of Spanish moss I have left over from the Dollar Tree. It is more cost effective to buy a bigger bag at Hobby Lobby. So once I'm out, I will be doing that. Here's some jute twine that I've picked up. I've either gotten this at Lowe's or Home Depot a while ago. I honestly don't know where I got that, but any jute twine will work. So I didn't glue any of this. I just tie this in a knot. I wrapped it around, I think 3 or 4 times here, and I'm just making it look like they've been bundled together. So that way it's not too apparent that they're glued together, but they just look like they're bundled together in a cute little, 3-pack here. And then I'm going to also make a finger bow to go right on top of that. All I did was just tie a square knot. So here I wrap this around my fingers. Let's see, 1, 2, 3 or 4 times. And then what we're going to do is take another piece of twine, and we're going to just cinch it in the middle. After you take it off your fingers, you pinch it, and then you take another piece of twine and you cut that. You tie a knot in the middle. I'm cutting the extra pieces off, and we're just going to glue it right above the little knot that we already made when we originally tied that on. And that's it for the actual containers itself. Look how cute it is. Of course, cut your tails to fit. So now I'm going to add some greenery. So this is Dollar Tree foliage and Dollar Tree whatever that is, because I can't pronounce that. I just bought them because they were super pretty, and I actually got there on a day that they had just stocked, so everything was nice and not picked over and ripped apart by monsters. So this foliage here, I guess it's supposed to be Dollar Tree's version of eucalyptus or something. Now, in a moment, you'll see me, I'll start to take a pair of needle nose pliers here because these ends don't have anything on the end stopping your greenery from just being pulled off of the end of it. It can literally just fly off. So here you see I'm twisting it. I'm taking my pliers and I'm twisting it down. I'll show you in a second. Here's a straight piece so you can see it's straight. And after I take my pliers, I've basically turned it into a hook. So if anything should try to be pulled up, it will not come off of your piece. It's just that added extra little bit that you can put into your projects to make sure that you don't have pieces flying off and laying on the floor or getting lost or the dog's chewing on it and you find it 2 days later all full of slobber. Like, what did this used to be? Because that happens a lot. And to me, you guys, that's one of my pet peeves. I literally cannot handle when things just fall apart so easily. It's why a lot of times I am not a Dollar Tree floral fan. Their greenery seems to be okay, but sometimes there's just a little bit extra you can do. Same thing, Michael's tulips. Oh my lot, those things fall apart. So I'm gluing every single tulip bud back on it, and that gets a little tedious. So of this here, you'll see I bought 4 of them, but I only used 3. And I love the little white, they're like white, yellowish green. They're styrofoam balls. I don't know what or how to pronounce that word of what they are, but they're so cute and I love them. And they're very springy. They're very summery. So they're actually very perfect for like 4th of July and Memorial Day and these days that, we would end up putting patriotic wares out for. And hey, there's nothing wrong. I keep pumpkins out year round. So if you're patriotic, I have a few things in my home that stay out year round. This is also very good if you have a farmhouse rustic look in your home to basically leave this arrangement out, maybe in the kitchen somewhere. But look how cute this is. Just a couple different picks of greenery, 3 cans, some dowels and some twine. We had a little bit of a Mod Podge fest there. Now again, those back cans I had done a couple years ago, but all I did was the same technique, just in strips. They're just extra little strips there to get it to go the way I wanted because I wanted the stars at the bottom of the can. But in any event, what do you guys think? Do you guys love it? Because I am more than happy, especially with the antique wax, how these turned out. I was very, very, very happy with how it all looks. Yeah, I'm in love with these girls. You guys tell me what you think in the comments. Let me know. All right, next one on. This little sign I got around, obviously you can see, oh, love you always, is from Valentine's Day. And I took that little heart off here, and you guys will see it make appearances here and there, but it doesn't stay in the project, so just go ahead and save that if you have the same one. A little bit of glue there, had to get that off. So what I'm going to do is, this is one of the ones where you can't take the backing off. Hadn't really thought about that when I bought them, but I will pay attention to that in the future because I don't like doing this particular method right here for covering the back. I could have painted it, but I wanted a patterned paper on the back, and I was not going to paint any kind of plaid or gingham pattern by hand. So in any event, this was a lot of just putting it in there and kind of creasing it and cutting it, finding its way. So I finally got a good little fit there, and I wanted it snug and I wanted it even. I do not like when you can see the crooked edges on things. So I got all this cut out and I got all of it fitting perfect. And I grabbed my scrapbooking adhesive, it's an AdTech double-sided, it's obviously a double adhesive roller. And we got our little guy in there. I was able to move it around just a little bit. I'm using a brayer just to make sure it sticks very well. And now we're going to use a DIY wood chime. This is from Dollar Tree. I'm using the wooden star and the wood America of those two. I'm going to save those little wind chimes, obviously, because we can do lots of stuff with it. And what I'm going to do here is I've got some home decor chalk paint in the color Nautical. This is a really pretty blue. It's not like a bright cobalt blue, but it's also not a muted country or a navy. It's the perfect color blue. And I'm telling you guys, I bought a pack of them and it was just luck that I had this. I ended up giving it about 2.5, almost 3 coats to cover up all those little decorative, like it had all that design under it that they wanted you to paint by hand. To cover that up so you couldn't see it. It took about 2 coats, probably 3 in some places, but I just kept drying it and applying it back on. Now, this little star here turned into a couple different things. So here you see me first putting antique wax on it, and it looks really nice, but for me, it was missing something. I wanted it to be a little bit brighter. So it actually turned into a couple different colors. Here I'm getting my cashew out because we're going to distress our America first. So I'm just going one way. I'm going to go horizontally across the actual piece. And then what I'm going to do is take it and I'm going to go vertical across it. So you have two, see those lines? It looks so cute. I love it when it looks cute like that. Like it looks almost like it's plaid sort of, or like a canvas look. So here I decided that we're going to just bite the bullet, and I'm painting the star cashew. Then I'm going to grab these little tiny stars that I picked up at Dollar Tree, I think basically back at Christmas, and I'm going to grab these and I'm going to put Waverly wax on that, the antique wax on that, and that makes my eyes happy. So I'm going to put the continent down first. There's America in all of her glory. And then here I'm going to glue my little smaller wooden star on top of the star that came in the DIY wind chime pack. And then I'm going to place that star right on top of America. Now there's two holes. There's a hole in the white star and there's a hole at the top of America. And we're going to cover those with a bow. Originally I had filled them in with hot glue and that was sort of a mess. See, I'm pointing to you. Look, we're going to cover these. So here's some cream colored twine I got at Michael's on clearance a while ago. You just find some cream colored twine or some jute or anything like that that looks good. I did a very small hand bow, so we just basically wrap that around 3 fingers 3 times, pull it off, pinch it in the middle just like the previous DIY, and we're just going to take another piece of twine and tie a knot in the middle. Now originally I was going to leave my tails on, but I decided that it was covering up too much cute stuff, so I cut all of the tails off, and we're going to position it in such a way that it's diagonal and it covers what's showing of the holes. And that's it. Look at it's so cute and simple. It just makes me happy. Every time, you guys, I don't have an idea and then it kind of comes alive while I'm making it, and I'm worried that it's not going to be cute. It turns out so cute and simple that I can't help it. I can't help but want to hug it and keep it forever. But you guys, I really can't keep stuff. If there's DIYs that you guys see me making and you love them, just go ahead and message or put in the comments. I am going to be listing things on my coffee page for sale because I'm running out of space in my house and in my mind. So I will be listing my DIYs for sale on my coffee page, and there's a link to that in the description and also pinned in my first comment. Also, that's a good way to get yourself a little memento or a cute little gift, and then also help me support my channel. So there's that. All right, guys, third one. This is another cute little sign. Now this little, it's like, I guess it's a wall decor piece from Hobby Lobby. I'm sorry, where did I get that from? That's Dollar Tree. So I took the label off the back with my heat gun. Now I'm filling this hole because it's meant to be a wall piece with hot glue. I'm using my spackle scraper as like a leveling agent, and we're going to end up covering the back with this brown craft paper, or this shipping paper. So I don't like when you can see where stickers were. I need it to look like a nice finished piece. Most of the time, if I can make something look as professional as I can, I will do it, even if it's something I'm keeping for myself. It's just something that I like to do. So once you glue that down, you'll cut it off, and then I'll use my finger sander here. This is also in my Amazon shop if you guys choose to want that. It's such a great tool. And again, Amazon's also linked below. So I covered the back of it, so now I'm just gonna, fill in the little pieces here that might be lifting up. I'm checking everything with my thumb, and we're just gonna make sure that none of that pops up. So it looks sort of like a professionally framed picture, even though it's not. But it's basic. In any event, the behind the scenes are covered. You can't see it. So here's a leftover piece from the previous sign we made, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take my scrapbooking adhesive. It's an AdTech roller, and I'm going to first do the perimeter of our little sign here, and then I'll fill in the middle. Of course, I ran out of adhesive, but the perfect time I had the greatest amount. I'm going to brayer it down just to make sure I have a really good hold. Now, guys, that stuff is not forgivable. Once you put that down, you can't pull that paper back up without destroying it. So one of these things is these are not outdoor items. They're meant to be inside. This is now a shelf sitter or a tiered tray item or a tabletop piece. It's not going to be in a high traffic area. So Mod Podging is an option, but I don't have the patience. This gives me the quick results that I want, and it's permanent, and it's flat and smooth and pretty. Now this little guy I pulled off of a Valentine's picture. when I was making something else, probably one of my Mother's Day gifts. And I got this little pad of paper at Hobby Lobby. It said $10, but I got it for $5 because 50% off that day. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the heart and I'm going to cover it in this really pretty blue florally wood grain. Now, I wanted country, but I also wanted farmhouse. So here I'm using my filming lights in order to see through it, because I want just enough of the dark blue and a little bit of the wood grain to come through on the piece. So I'm using my lights to my advantage to show me how to do it. Now I'm filling in this guy here. I drew the outline so I knew exactly where to put it back down at. I'm going to brayer over that. And again, yep, I ran out of glue, but that's okay. I have way more in the back where all my scrapbooking paper is. So I'm going to cut the excess pieces of, make the paper a little bit smaller, because we are going to use the sander again, but we want to be able to get into these little areas. So I'm cutting the majority of the paper off. And again, this finger sander is amazing. Now I have an 80 grit. When you buy that, the one that I have listed in my Amazon shop comes with many different pieces of sanding paper to put on there, and the refills are very cheap. I'm using the 80 grit. I use very, very rough, low grit, which means it's a very coarse sandpaper on pretty much everything, because I want it to rip things up. But look how cute that is. And look at the colors together. Isn't it great, you guys? You know, that red and white gingham with that cobalt blue floral. It's amazing. Like, not everything has to be stars and stripes, but you'll get the point. Now, this is a great pick right here. It's a 100 set wooden letter Scrabble set. I got it on Amazon. There's 100 tiles in there. And I counted them, and I also looked through all of them. Every bag has the entire alphabet times 2 or 3. I can't remember. That is linked in my Amazon shop below. It is very affordable. I cannot remember the price off the top of my head right now. That's really bad. I should have looked it up before I recorded. I'm sorry. But I have used it in other videos. I've used a couple of things. I've spelled out home before, but the USA is like perfect. Now I'm going to attach a tumbling tower block from Dollar Tree, basically a Dollar Tree Jenga piece to it, because I want my heart to be raised up off of this piece. I want it to have some dimension, and I'm going to use this to my advantage and basically hide what would be on the back underneath the heart. So I'm going to take this twine, that's Dollar Tree jute twine, and I'm going to wrap it around each side of the tumbling tower block, or the Jenga piece, and then I'm going to glue that under right there. So that way I've got some twine, I've got something breaking up some of that gingham on the back. It's so cute. And the back is all clean, there's no glue showing. So I felt like I needed something more aged. I needed more aging. So I took my antique wax and I took a little piece of paper towel and I kind of dabbed at this heart just to bring a little bit in that would match kind of what we did to our tin cans, and what we did a little bit. I just wanted it to have more aging, more distressing, and just enough of that brown pop through in there and made me happy. So I'm taking this, this is a burnishing, this is a rub-on transfer tool that I got with one of my packs, and I'm using it as my leveler, you could say. So as I'm gluing these letters on, I'm making sure they're facing the right way, obviously. And then also I'm using it and pressing the bottom onto the transfer scraper there. So I'm making sure they're even, and I'm using it as like a leveling piece. So here now I wanted to put the heart on, but I felt like I needed something. So these little pieces of, I guess this is eucalyptus or something that came off of one of my bundles I've gotten from somewhere. I found a couple of them laying around. Now I have a box and I also have a junk bucket. You guys have seen my junk bucket many times in many different videos. Now these two guys would think we're just laying off to the side on my table, so I wanted something else in here. I need to add green. I needed to add something else other than the colors I had, something to break up more of that background. I didn't want it to be too harsh on your eyes. You know, sometimes you ever look at a pattern and it hurts your eyes. I didn't want that to happen today. So I just grabbed these and I glued them on. Now, I didn't record it. You're going to see me add 2, but there's technically, I think, 3 or 4 on the end result. So I'm going to basically leave those 2 on here while I was actually recording the creation process. But as I was looking at it later, I decided I wanted to add more to it. And that where I took a leaf off just because it was kind of interfering with the heart being glued down. But in any event, geez, so pretty. We're going to make the decision at some point, Whitney. There we go. And we're going to glue down our heart. So I put enough glue on there that I had some wiggle room before it actually hardened. So make sure that you're even enough and it's balanced in the middle. and we're very, very cute. Now see, look, okay, yeah, I added there's 4 total, 2 on the bottom, 2 on the top. Look how cute it is with those extra pieces of greenery. You can't be too mad. So I'm sorry that's not actually recorded with me adding it, but I literally just put glue on the end of it and tucked it down in there. That's really all I had to do. I basically glued them to the other pieces that were already under there. And it's so cute. It's a cute little tabletop. And it does balance on its own, so you can stand it up for a tabletop piece, but you could also use it as a shelf sitter or in your tiered tray decor, leaned up against anything. But it will stand up on its own. Tell me what you guys think. I love it. It turned out so great. And this one took me a minute too. It was almost 20 some minutes to make that, and it shouldn't have taken that long, but it did. All right, last one, but not least. Now this is a stretch canvas, a 6x8 from the Dollar Tree. I got this idea from Jazz at DIY or Jazz on My Home. She's got some great ideas. Now I took it a step further and I really distressed it and add some stuff to it, but what she did was she took the frame, so basically take off all of the staples in the canvas and all that, but don't throw the canvas away. We're going to actually cut it down, and we're going to basically do like a reverse canvas technique. If you guys have heard that term before, it's because I am not the first person to do it. So after I got everything off, which those came off pretty easy with a flathead screwdriver, so cut off all the edges of the canvas, but do not throw it away. We're going to use it to back up as a backing, but we're going to put one of these flags on it. So after I got everything out of there, I'm just sanding down this because the Dollar Tree canvas frames are a little bit rough. This one wasn't too bad. I've had some other ones that are just absolutely nasty, but this one turned out okay after I sanded it. Now this is a square dowel. I also got these at Amazon. They are listed in my Amazon store. I got a decent amount of them. Again, prices on Amazon, I won't buy anything if it's ridiculous, and I would never suggest it to you guys either. But should you not have any square dowels in your arsenal, or in your craft arsenal, you can pick up and take a look at the ones that I used. Even if you just want to find the size I used, you can take a look at my Amazon store, and then you can pick up square dowels at any craft store. You can get them at Michael's and Joann's and Hobby Lobby. But you can also pick them up on hardware stores as well too. Now these are really easy to cut with my miter shears, and so what we're going to do is, now all the wood is the way I need it to be. I put the dowel underneath the frame, used my pencil to measure what I needed. I'm sorry guys, I was talking right through that. You can also go back and pause it if you need to see what I did. I used a pencil, and then that gave me the one measurement. The second one I'm not going to cut until I actually have the first piece put in the middle, but essentially we're going to create a picture window frame, or a window frame, not a picture frame, a window frame out of this. So after I've got the antique wax on the Dollar Tree canvas frame, I need to apply it to our wooden dowel. So this is basically the panes of our window, or window panes pieces, and we're going to get those good and covered. And the wood grain that came out in these dowels was pretty. I was surprised by a couple of it. So here I've turned it on its back, and I'm trying to find the middle as best I can. So just get a ruler out, make sure it's as even as I can get it in the middle, and I'm going to take a pencil and mark on the raw edge of the canvas frame where I need to make sure that it sits after I glue it and staple it down. So here I'm going to go get my stapler. This is a little hand stapler I've got at Sears so many years ago. It's a Craftsman stapler. I love it. It's so easy to use. But I also have a stapler I've used many times because it also does nails too off of Amazon. But that's not this one. This one is my little mini hand stapler. So after I glued it in place, I just used a couple staples. And now here's me taking measurements for the cross piece. Now we need it to fit inside, so I just put it underneath. Again, I used my pencil, and I took my piece and I put it inside there. Now the other one, you'll see me, I'm going to lift it up and put it underneath, and that's going to give me the edge that I need to use my pencil, mark my line, and cut it out. So here I've got it. I had to face it vertical so I could do the same thing with my ruler, find the middle, make sure that I have it even so that's a straight line. So you want to have the same amount of space on each side. So I already know what it looks like when it's in. I mean, this looks like a mess right now, but it's so cute. It's so cute. And then I use a little hot glue on each end. Pop that down, and I'm doing it towards the back because if there's extra glue, it'll squeeze out towards the back of it. And then I'm just going to pop a staple on to each end. And this is a pretty soft wood. Both the square dowel and the Dollar Tree canvas frame. It's a very soft wood, so you don't have to have, if you have a tension setter on your staple gun, be careful because you could shoot a staple right through it. It's not exactly the strongest wood, but it's pretty decent. So there I've got my window frame. It's so cute. And then I took my zip sander just as, just for fun. I don't know if that's what I can't remember what she did in hers, but I think she may have sanded it a little bit, but the way it sanded out was so cute to me. I'm just reinforcing here my 4 points. And so now we're ready to actually create our little flag window, I guess you could call it. I'm not sure. So this is a 3-pack of mini flags from the Dollar Tree. And here I couldn't get it off, wouldn't pull off. So I just cut it off because obviously the flag is going to be a lot smaller, but we do want to make sure it's, set evenly in the frame. So you'll see here I'm going to put the frame down lower, and there I kind of pointed. I want only one side to have one square of the opening to have stars in it. So then I used a pencil, I traced around it, and I tried to just get it as even as I could against the canvas. Now here it's also very wrinkly, so I took my heating tool and I got all the wrinkles out. I also kind of melted it a little bit in one spot, so be careful. And so because I know the frame of the actual picture is going to go where the blue and the stars meet the red and white stripes, so I'm putting that down just to get my canvas excuse me, secured in the right spot. And from here, you guys, this kind of just was how it happened. I laid it on top of the frame, but I wasn't necessarily wanting to secure it yet, and then I went and glued it down right here. I wanted to distress it with the paint before I put it in the frame, but everything worked out, you'll see here. So I just continue securing it to everything, whether I'm securing the canvas to the flag or the flag to the frame. You can see how it kind of all just came together. But again, this wasn't my plan. I had planned on putting the flag on the canvas, then using the paint to distress the flag, and then put the flag on the frame. But if you see here, just mute me because I'm going to keep talking. It still worked out okay. So in any event, I now have to use a very sharp razor blade to basically cut the extras off. And again, this still worked out okay. Nothing is like, there's no frayed edges, you can't see through it. And so now here I'm using my finger to feel the frame. Careful, do not staple your fingers. And that's just to put more staples in around the outside. I may have went a little staple happy, but again, if it's ever, any moisture out, it might wrinkle. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. So here's my cashew chalk paint from Waverly. And this is where it kind of took a turn for me. And I was so happy that it did. In the original that Jazz did, she didn't paint the flag or anything like that. Hers was very, very cute, but my colors and for what my little grouping that I made here, everything had been distressed and it looked very primitive, farmhouse and rustic. So I needed to add more aging, more cream, more weathering to our pieces. And this paint in here turned out so great. And all I can tell you guys is that if you're concerned about it, just go for it, because I don't know that there's a way you can mess this up. Dab some paint on the end of a chip brush, dab it off, and then just go at it. I went in 2 different directions again to give it sort of a canvasy look, and I love it. Oh, this is an extra piece of burlap I had sitting around. This is from something, I think it's from when I made my Father's Day tribute gift. It's just literally a diagonally cut shape, and I'm going to pinch it in the middle. That's all it is. It has no shape or reason. It's just like kind of a diagonal piece, but it was a throwaway piece I had here in my favorite little junk bucket. And this is my junk bucket of finger bows. This is all the bows I make when I practice. So I just literally stapled it to the corner of the frame. And I'm going to try a bunch of different, I have a bunch of little bows in here. So that was a black twine one. There's the farmhouse ticking. It was a little bit too bright white for me. I wanted more of a cream color. And I was like, well, let me try. And then I found a better way to get that. I basically put a 3rd staple in it to get the canvas or the burlap to kind of have a little wrinkle in it. And then I picked up that Dollar Tree like lace ribbon. Man, it was perfect for the country feel. I was looking at the farmhouse. Oh, I loved it. Now I've got finger bow tutorials and some other videos, but those are fairly easy to make. But this is just my practice bows. I'll sit and I will practice finger bows when I'm either in a call or waiting for dinner or something like that. I will make them, and then I have a few. Now I'm trying not to do that so much, but look how perfect it turned out. Isn't it perfect? It's simple but perfect. And you guys, I'm sorry if that was a little bit confusing, but it really is a lot easier than I made it sound. If you just mute me and watch the video itself, it's actually very, very fun and enjoyable. And the end result, that does not look like Dollar Tree anything, doesn't it? I mean, you can't tell that that's one of those synthetic, cheapy little flags that people stick on the lawn that you end up blowing away. You know what I'm saying? It's just, it looks so good, and I'm so happy with it. You guys let me know what you do and how you guys figure out. If you were to duplicate this again, because this is a duplicate of someone else's creation, and it's just a little added to it. So again, it's all duplication. It's all fun, and it's all crafting, and it's good to share things with each other anyways. So let me know if you guys have any other ideas or what you do. But there's the lot. There's the 4 beauties together, and I love how they all turned out. And I'm loving making these little grouping sets. Everything's been so fun lately with this new, doing a couple things here and there that all kind of match each other. It's been making me super happy. So you guys let me know how you feel. So I just want to say thank you to everyone. I appreciate you guys spending your time with me. Oh, look how cute that is. The little hearts with the flowers. The floral, the blue floral in that makes it for me. Not everything has to be stars and stripes. That's just an idea of showing you to take your colors and take your other patterns and mix them, and they can still be applied to, the format or to the holiday that you're attempting. Just mess with it. It's fun. It's just crafting. Nothing can go wrong. There she is. All right. Once again, thank you guys so much for joining me. Thank you for spending your valuable time with me. I appreciate every single one of you more than you know. There's my coffee page. It's linked in the description and in the comments below. If you should feel so, you can support me there. Buy me a coffee, helps my channel. Again, like, subscribe, comment, all those things help as well. Never required, but always appreciated. So I love you guys. Thank you so much. Happy crafting, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.